So what is a redeemable tax deed? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how that works, because this can be very confusing. People go, wait a second, I bought a tax deed, it's redeemable, when's it, what about this one over here? There's a lot of misinformation out there on this. I'm going to clear it all up. By the time we're done with this short video, you're going to not only know how they work, but how you can profit from this. There is a huge window of opportunity that can literally make you tens of thousands of dollars. So stick around and I'll show you how to do that. First of all, let's talk about this. What is a redeemable tax deed? It's kind of exactly what it sounds like. Again, I've been doing this a long time, so if I go fast, just write me a comment in there, hit the thumbs up, do whatever you want to do on that, but just work with me on this. If you have any questions, please don't be bashful. I'll go from there. Remember, I've been doing this a long time, so sometimes I go a little fast. First of all, what's a tax deed? Okay, a tax deed is a property that has failed to pay off the property taxes, and the county said enough's enough. You cannot sell a property for delinquent taxes in the form of a tax deed until they've been delinquent at least 4 years. I've said this before in other videos, but a tax lien and a tax deed are two different sides of the same coin. So a tax deed originally starts off as a tax lien. And so what happens is a county cannot sell a tax lien certificate on a property until that property owner has been delinquent for 1 full year. At that point, they do have the opportunity to sell a lien in some states. In some states, they go, we don't even want to do that. We're going to wait 4 years, okay? Because you can never buy a property for delinquent property taxes in the form of a tax deed until they've been delinquent 4 years. It doesn't matter what state that is. It's all the same, basically. That's the bare minimum. Could be longer, but bare minimum. Okay, so what happens in a redeemable deed, they go, you know what, we kind of want our money a little sooner, so we're going to sell the tax deed in the 3rd year, and we're going to say there's a 1-year redemption period. Which equals 4. For instance, you've got places like Texas. Texas says, listen, if it's their primary residence, they get 2 years. If it's not their primary residence, they only get 6 months. So if I buy a tax deed in the state of Texas and it's their primary residence, they still get another 2 years to come clean with that. But during that 2 years, there is going to be a penalty. Anytime you see a tax deed that has a redemption period, the interest rate during that redemption period will always be a penalty. It's not going to be an annualized rate of return. Okay, the catch is they're not going to redeem. Okay, I want you to think about this for a minute. Let's just use Georgia. Okay, that's easy. Okay, let's say I buy a tax deed. It's 20%, it's a 1-year redemption period. We'll start with that. Let's say the back taxes are $10,000. Okay, so they owe $10,000 in taxes to protect this $200,000 house. Let's just use that as an example. Why didn't they pay the $10,000? So if I go to the auction and I bid it up to $50,000, they now have to pay $60,000. That's $50,000 in back taxes that I bid it up to, plus the bid, plus a 20% penalty, which would be an additional $10,000 or $60,000. If they didn't pay 10, what makes you think they're gonna pay 60? Now, can they redeem? Yeah, God bless them, I hope they do. Okay, but it's gonna be a 20% penalty. You gotta pay me $60,000. And I'll give you an example, because it does happen. This is a rule of thumb. I paid $80,000 for a tax deed that's redeemable, actually in the state of Georgia. They redeemed it and they had to pay me $96,000. That is $80,000 for the back taxes that I bid it up to, plus a 20% penalty, which was $16,000 or a total of $96,000. So I made $16,000 in 5 months. Didn't lift a hammer, didn't go to Home Depot, didn't take out any permits, didn't worry about the wiring, literally $16,000 doing nothing. Matter of fact, this was right in the middle of COVID, okay? So it was a beautiful thing. It does happen, but the likelihood, or as they say in Texas, are slim and none. But they have that opportunity. So what the county's saying is, look, okay, we don't want to foreclose on the property. We'll let somebody else do it. So they sold it in 3 years. If I had foreclosed on that property, I would have had to wait the full 365 days. Then I start the foreclosure process on it, but I'm doing it. The county's not. Okay, so they don't have the expenses or anything else like that. So it's kind of a beautiful thing. That's what a redeemable deed. So whenever you see redeemable deed out there, that means that the county has said, okay, we really don't want to foreclose on this property because that means we have to hire somebody that's a foreclosure person within our county. They're going to get on the payroll. They got vacation. They got medical. They got all that stuff. Yeah, it's actually a really smart way. The county, they go, we're going to do this. We're going to sell the deed. We're going to give them a redemption period of 6 months, a year, to whatever the statutes say. And then we're going to let the investor do the foreclosure on that. So it's kind of a really cool way to make it happen. Redeemable auctions are happening all the time. There's over 200 redeemable auctions every single month. You're never gonna run out of those. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. You either get the property, or in my case, like that one, you got redeemed in that situation. Not a big deal. I still got 20%. That's what you're looking at. But there's a lot of things you need to look at. That's what a redeemable deed is. Understand before you go in that that's what's happening. Because if I buy a redeemable deed, they could say I have to start foreclosure process within a certain amount of time. And if I don't do that, I'll lose my money. They could say during that redemption period, I have to notify people about the foreclosure coming up. And if I don't do that, I lose my money. There could be a number of different things that I have to do in order to fill my legal obligation to start the foreclosure process. Because remember, somebody's losing their property. And one of the beautiful things about tax liens and tax deeds is we're really buying the property owner time. And so to legitimately say that, you have to look at this and go, well, I'm not trying to sneak up on anybody. If they can redeem, I want them to. Okay, I'm still getting 20%. Whatever they say I have to do, I want to make sure I'm on top of that, giving the property owner as many opportunities as possible to protect their situation. But there also has to be a cutoff date. Enough is enough. As this paperwork is done, if we get to the end and it's still not done, remember, we're going to have to foreclose the property and more notices go out at that point. Okay, so there is a process here. And at that point though, you know, in my example, I got a $200,000 property for $50,000 in back taxes. That is called a happy dance, okay, all day long. So the upside is you're gonna get properties at a fraction. The downside of all this, are there risks involved? You're darn right there are. There's risk involved in walking across the street. And if anybody says that, oh, we're gonna do this or that, and we're gonna guarantee, baloney. Okay, what I can guarantee is two things, taxes and death. Okay, all this other stuff is crazy. You have to do your research. You need to know where these sales are, when these sales are, what the rules of the sale, how the money comes in there, all these things. Okay, let's start off with the counties. You need to know which counties are offering. Over 200 counties are having sales each and every single month. Okay, where are those counties? When does the list come out? What do I need to look for? What about other liens and encumbrances? All of these things are crucial. There is nothing more frustrating to me than seeing beginning or novice investors going out there and just blindsided going out there and buying taxes. I saw somebody bid a property up to the market value. I'm like, what are they doing? Get a realtor. Go inspect that. You didn't even see the inside of that house. You don't know what you're betting. You know what he said to me? I said, why'd you pay full retail for it? He said, that guy over there wasn't gonna get it. That's called auction fever. You don't want those things to happen. There are so many things out there that can come up and bite you in the backside that you don't want to make that happen. So this is the good news. Okay, I've got a free brand new course that I just put together specifically for you. This shows you step by step the research process, how to find the counties, and how to get to your first deal in the next 30 to 45 days. You heard that right. You go through this course, go through the process, and I will show you how to do it from beginning to end. All you have to do is click the link down below, higginsmethod.com, and you'll get access to that free course right now. God bless and good luck.